Hello, and welcome to Season 3 of Business Matters, Episode 12. My name is Chelsea Seckora. I'm the Director of Brand and Communications here at the Eau Claire Area Chamber of Commerce. We are coming to you from the Wind Technology Studio, and we want to thank you to our media sponsor, Home Tech by Mosaic. I am here today with McKenna, Scherer, and Jake Smith of Volume 1. Thank you both for being here.
Oh, yeah. It was a pleasure. Thank you for asking.
For sure. So just a little overview of the episode's focus today is we're going to be exploring branding, storytelling, and the community voice, and how businesses can create authentic brands that resonate both locally and beyond. So we'll just dive right into it. Quick inside perspective of Volume 1. Who is Volume 1? Who are you both? And the roles that you play?
Yeah. I am the managing editor of the magazine, and then also everything that you kind of see online storytelling wise. I'm a digital and print is what I do.
And then I'm the media strategy director. So I handle most of the advertising. Well, not most of. I handle the advertising efforts with a team of a couple more guys, and everything from print, digital, social media, video, all that great stuff.
Yeah.
Solid. And
if you don't mind, I love doing the story of Volume 1 and like that soapbox of all of that. So I can roll into that if people don't know it. The magazine started in 2002. It was co-founded by Nick Meyer, who is the owner today, and then also his friend Dale Carls. And that started as a black and white zine, kind of like these printer paper pieces, just stapled all together. The story behind that is kind of fun, and I hope that Nick doesn't mind that I share. Is he was a music booker at Stone's Throw at the time downtown, and obviously super tuned into the music scene for that, and then also like just personally and for funsies. And at the time, the pitch for content and articles around bands and music and arts in downtown Eau Claire wasn't really landing or resonating with the local media at the time. And that was kind of frustrating because there were really cool things happening, but it was not the Eau Claire that it is today. And
Sure.
That comes up kind of a lot for me too in interviews with people. I grew up in Eau Claire, and I remember like downtown today is so different than it was 20 years ago. And it's easy to forget that. And it's easy to take that for granted. Anyways, that's kind of a tangent. And so Nick, Dale, and then people that they were friends with, other musicians, poets, writers, things like that, they make this zine. Volume 1, the name Volume 1 was an accident. That was the placeholder. It was going to be Volume 1 of whatever they decided to name it. They couldn't come up with anything, so they just left it as Volume 1, and obviously 20-some years later, it just happened to stick that way. And it was entirely focused around cool things that were happening, or just like opinions and thoughts from writers and musicians and other regular people in the community. That's all that it was. And for the first, I don't know, couple dozen, or maybe just the first dozen issues of that, every single one opened with a note basically being like, I don't know how much longer we're going to do this, but we're going to keep doing it until we don't want to, or people don't want us to, or whatever. So they were printing it themselves, black and white, stapling it, whatever, and then distributing it around downtown Eau Claire. And then it kind of accidentally became more than just that. And then 5 or so years after that, all of a sudden Volume 1 had an office space on Barstow Street. And then it was able to pay a few part-timers, and then it was able to be a full-time job for Nick. And then a few years after that, it had become a more robust thing. And that was really just because of other community members and people that were engaging with it and feeling it and loving it. And at the time, it was something that the Eau Claire community had not had before. There was not that focus on the arts. There was not that focus on hearing about those kinds of things from other community members that maybe weren't traditional journalists. That wasn't a thing. And that's what Volume 1 was providing. And that ended up growing into all of the other things that it is today, which of course Volume 1, the magazine, I call it the anchor of what Volume 1 is. It's probably the thing that people associate Volume 1 with most, is that bi-weekly print magazine or online. But it's grown into so many other things. Now we have the local store, so we're neighbors with the chamber. We just walked on over. That's where our offices are too. They're just upstairs. That's why you can't wander upstairs. When people do, we say, there's nothing cool up here. It's just us. Go back down to the local store.
It's just us.
Yeah,
Okay.
there is a swing, and sometimes kids want to do that, and that's fine, but then they go back downstairs.
The swing is gone now.
The swing,
actually.
we have to get the swing fixed.
Oh,
but
no.
the local store opened in the 2010s. I kind of want to say around 2012. at the location that we are at now, so on North Dewey Street. And then several years after that, actually, in the last 3 years, the Chippewa River Trolley Company opened. That's also part of Volume 1. And then around that same time, too, we launched the e-bikes and the e-scooter rentals out of the local store. And the reason that all of that works is because it's the same team. The team of Volume 1 and the local store helps facilitate all those other branches of it as well. And I didn't even get into the events, which is the other thing people probably most know Volume 1 for, is things like Sounds Like Summer, which started, I think, in the 2000s or early 2010s. That was really the first live outdoor concert series that Eau Claire had, was Sounds Like Summer. It was free to go to. It's still free to go to. For that reason, to bring people together. Other events like that, like Food Truck Friday and things, are meant to be facilitators to bring people together, and also just like to have cool things going on. 20 years ago, you might have one cool thing to go to on the weekend. Not the problem anymore. You can go to the events calendar and look at that. There's a million things going on all the time, depending on what you're into.
Yes.
And that's been really cool, obviously, to see as well. But that's my big spiel about kind of Volume 1 and how it's grown into what it is today.
Yeah, Jake, can you add anything to
No,
that?
I think that the conversation we're having today is about how storytelling is important for businesses, and
Correct.
I do think that like Volume 1 exists explicitly to fill a void that was in the Chippewa Valley. Like, the people weren't writing about the arts and the community and the culture; they were writing about the community, but in a different way.
Yeah.
So this was more of a way for those more niche interests to get out there. Those parts of Eau Claire that make Eau Claire Eau Claire. How many times can I say Eau Claire in the same sentence, I guess?
No,
but,
it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
No, but we started to fill that void, and it just grew and blossomed, and turns out that people were really interested in it, and it helped us establish the Volume 1 media empire that exists today. So
Yeah, so essentially, storytelling is at the core of this organization, of this business. So how do you implement the storytelling through the brand like identity?
Yeah. It's an interesting question because Volume 1 storytelling isn't the brand.
Mm-hmm.
It's the foundation of what it was built off of. So it's not necessarily explicitly a tool to achieve some end thing. Like, that's what it is. At least for me, it's easy for me to say that because I'm so all about the print and digital storytelling that we do, but it's not a means to an end. Like, that's the other thing too, and I think that people feel that, especially today in 2026 when we're all so tapped in and glued to our devices, and like whether you really want to be or not, unless you're like are trying super hard to avoid it, like you kind of can't. Like, you're inundated with content. That word too, I kind of stumbled over a little bit in the beginning because I have a love-hate with that word, but you're inundated no matter what. We've never been more tied into everything happening around you and then not around you ever before. And that's so amazing and incredible. And how could humans do that? And then also, oh my God, is it so exhausting? Like, my screen time, you don't want to see it. And it's for work, but like, I'm also doing it to unwind. I'm also scrolling and on my TikTok and laughing and YouTube and all the things.
Who doesn't doom scroll?
But because of that, like, I think that people's BS radars are pretty good, I think. If you're somebody that is actively scrolling and watching and consuming, you can kind of feel that, I think. And I think that that's why Volume 1 has existed as long as it has and will continue to, is like, it comes from a very real place. Like, it doesn't get more real than that. Nick is from Menominee. He moved to Eau Claire. He started it up. Everybody that works at Volume 1 physically works in that office space. None of us are remote. A lot of us are from here or are transplants to this area, have families, have kids in the schools around here, work here, play here, all the things. I think that translates very well. So when you ask how storytelling can become a part of a brand's identity, I think that you shouldn't do something that doesn't feel so like to the bottom of who you are, like real. Like, don't just shell something out to shell something out. I think people are smarter than that, and they'll feel that. I don't think you should do something unless you're 100% in on it. Like, the most unique thing about you should be able to roll off your tongue so easy. If you're talking about business, if you're talking about brand, like, don't shell me something that isn't true. Tell me the truth, and that's more than enough. I think if you're really keyed into your audience, that's more than enough.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I think in this day and age, like we even see with our investors and business community too, the desire for that authentic experience, and that obviously is resonating through what you guys are producing, and from the very start of it all as well, that authenticity lives within the brand. So what does it mean for you guys to consistently, like, obviously you want people, the BS radar, right? You want people to connect with you guys. But truly, what does authenticity mean in branding today?
Chelsea, I'm going to be so real with you. I think authenticity is just such a buzzword in marketing right now with local brands to a degree. So
thank you.
I think like everybody says we want to be authentic, but nobody knows what that means.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking about this all day. So I think that like when someone says they want an authentic brand, they want a brand that they can trust. They want a brand that they think is competent. They want a brand that they think isn't just trying to sell them some BS.
Right.
So if that's what authenticity means, like it's just a flashier way of saying that we know what we're doing and you can trust us. And so to do that, like McKenna said, I think you have to like, one, really believe in what you're doing, and two, like be good at what you're doing. Like at the end of the day, you can't be an authentic brand if you're not competent. You can't be an authentic brand if you don't believe in the product you're selling or the service you're providing or anything like that. That's my little spiel on authenticity.
I mean, the best thing is when you have a product, say you're a manufacturer, if you really stand on your product, that's almost the end of it. It's not, right? You need to spread the word, and there's all these other things about that. But if your product is solid and tried and true, that's 90% of the battle, I kind of feel like. Because at the end of the day, you're giving somebody something that is worth what they're going to spend their hard-earned money on, if they need to spend money on it, right? And if it's a service that they don't need to, is it something that is worth spending their time on or with? And if it is, you've done the hardest part, is that you've created something that actually helps people, when sometimes that's like the hardest thing in the world. Again, we're inundated with everything. And if you give somebody something real, that's like 90% of the battle, I feel like.
So how can a business do that through a service?
Like I said, like, okay. Oh, sorry. Just
I pivot over on that one.
So through a service, like, gosh, that caught me off guard for a second. Trying to build authenticity, or trying to provide a service that provides value for people. I'm trying to think of a service we could use. Advertising. We'll use advertising. That's my world. So through advertising, I mean, the way that we build authenticity through the Volume 1 megaphone, like through our print advertising, our digital advertising, social media, all of it is, from my perspective, we believe in what we're doing. We believe in the product that we have. We believe that the service that we are providing is genuinely helping people. And that's what makes it way easier for me to go out and talk to a business and say, I think you should advertise with Volume 1, not because I just want you to work with me because you work with me and I'm a commissioned employee. It's because I want your business to succeed, to continue to make the community succeed, and to continue seeing the community grow. And that is, I think, the authenticity Volume 1 brings to the table here, is that we are part of the community, like McKenna said, but we do truly want to see the community succeed and see the community grow. And we've seen what happens when someone just kind of goes out there and does something, like creates a print magazine 24 years ago. So through services, you build that trust, you build that rapport with the client, you build rapport with the community in general, and then people start to trust your brand as a voice or as the main top tier provider of that service in the area.
Does that answer your question, kind of?
Yeah. So kind of to bounce off of that then, how do you think, obviously it takes time to build trust, but what do you think are some some pointers that you can give businesses to like really kind of hit the ground running with that versus just standing on their platform and believing in what they're selling or what they're communicating, but like maybe there's other people that think more strategically, right? Like through analytics and so versus like the big kind of dreamer aspect. So how can you cater to all sides?
I think that getting testimonials from people, from clients, is big, and I don't think very many people do that anymore, or if they do, they think of it as a side, like not as important piece of things. Brian Mackey, friend of the magazine, that was his big thing. When a client would tell him, it's like, oh, this really worked for me, he would be like, can you write something nice for me and send it to me so I can use that to help promote your services to other people. So I think that getting that client testimonial, I think that just showing all aspects of production or you completing a service, like if, for example, someone was replacing windows, like showing video, having social content or digital content that shows we're replacing windows, this is how we do it, this is our team, this is how we provide this service, and we make it easy and smooth for you. I think that showing through all of the platforms that we have available, like everybody's on social media now, you have to use social media. If you're not there, you're missing out. But in the same way, you just have to kind of be everywhere and show them every opportunity that you can, the value that you bring, and the quality of the service that you have available.
When you asked that question, the first thing that came to my mind was just consistency. Oh my God. Consistency, whatever that looks like for you. Don't give me 50 different messages every single day or every single week. Give me the message and then repeat that message a lot. And you can get creative with that, and I understand that, but tell me your thing, and whatever your message is, if it's your slogan, it's what you're providing, like make sure that that's undeniable and that's associated immediately with whatever your brand is, whatever that looks like. I don't know, for some reason I keep thinking about Dragonetti's when I say that. I'm like, Dragonetti's is, when I drive past Dragonetti's, I can kind of tell what they're about and I know what it is, and if you've been there, it hasn't changed like since it opened. That's their thing, it's their look, it's their service, that's what they do. To pivot off of that and away from food, if I was talking about something like Volume 1, and again, to me, I feel like the magazine is probably the most recognizable thing of all the things that we do. The consistency around that is, oh yeah, it's a publication, or oh yeah, they write things. It's and hopefully people know a lot more than that. But if they don't, that's the message kind of delivered to people over 20 plus years. Then you can get creative off of that, right? And show the behind the scenes and show the people that are really doing it, or creating something. You can get creative off of that, but it's like consistency. Also with the social media thing, I think it's easy to want to be everywhere all the time because you see other people doing it and they're everywhere all the time. But if you don't have the capacity to do that well, pick one platform that makes sense for you. And a lot of the times I feel like that's Facebook for a business community. Yeah. I think that a lot of adults, maybe 30 plus, are on Facebook. A lot of people who have businesses are also on Facebook. Your chamber, your organizations in your community, they're going to be on Facebook, I think, at least first or before they're on something like Instagram or TikTok. I think video is great. Video is really fun. Video is really impactful. We're seeing that trend and the growth over that. But if you can't do all of that, that's okay. And you pick one thing and be really consistent and really great at that. And then, first things first, baby steps, I think, as well.
Yeah. So what would you recommend, as there's so much happening on the internet, right? And on social media. What would you suggest in terms of trying to capture attention in the midst of all the noise while creating that consistency within a brand?
Yeah. We actually talked about this before we came over, was like, what is the problem, or what is the thing that would make you cut through the noise? And this is probably kind of an unhelpful answer, but it so depends on what your thing is.
Oh, sure.
As well, because is it really about being flashy and catching attention, or is it about consistently growing something over time and putting that work in, and then hoping that hard work translates maybe in a year. Like, what's better, one viral moment or consistency that's grown over time that people now, if they stumble across your page or whatever, your website, they can scroll through and say, oh yeah, they posted, every other day, here's their services, here's what they do. Oh, here's, some staff that works there. Oh, that person looks like they've been on their staff for like 2 years because they're in all these posts and like the other things that communicates, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I guess what's more important to somebody, there's nothing wrong with wanting the viral moment. I think a lot of us are chasing the viral thing or the clickable thing, but do you have anything to back up that? Or do you have anywhere to go after that? Like, I think that, chicken and the egg kind of with that, but I think consistency is more important as well.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, people, but yeah,
I would think so in terms of like efficiency and creating longevity too.
Yeah, like how do you connect with people? I guess it depends on your audience. What are you hearing explicitly from people, like the testimonial thing, or your clients and your customers? What are they telling you? Because whatever they want and what they're talking about is probably what other people are interested in too. Yeah.
So then, what do you think are some common branding mistakes that businesses make?
I think that, like McKenna said, and like I kind of alluded to a little bit before too, is like there's too much noise, and there are too many different options for them to pursue. So instead of doing one thing well, they're doing multiple things just not well, quite frankly. I think that just having a constant feed of information available to everybody at all times makes it really difficult for businesses to cut through. So things that I think that they can do, or things that they can do to be better is, again, be consistent, and then not give up on a product, or not a product, I guess, not give up on a marketing channel because they don't see an immediate ROI on it. I think that that's the thing, is people have to be patient a little bit. Messages are stronger when repeated. So seeing the same ad pop up days, weeks, months for clients will likely, or potential clients, I guess, will likely yield results eventually. That's not a fun answer, but it's like, at the end of the day, it's like the number of people that I've worked with who are like, oh, we did 1/6 page ad in the magazine and it did not change our lives. It's like, well, I mean, like the people who are doing 6-page magazines, 6-page ads in the magazine have been doing them for a year. And then they're seeing the return because people are seeing that. They know that when they open volume 1, they're going to see that ad somewhere. It's a reminder for them. So I think that that's the biggest mistake that people make, is giving up on something because they're not having a life-changing result immediately.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Anything to add, McKenna?
Period.
Ooh, on
Period,
point.
what you said. Yeah.
Clock it.
Okay, so shifting a little bit, talking about the community voice, as Volume 1 is very good at expressing. So how do you reflect and amplify the voice? You've done it through, obviously, bringing together events in the community through the arts, but maybe get more into the in-depth process and the overall experience and what you're hearing from the community.
I think that there's a comment on a really old post of Volume 1's, because Volume 1's website was made in like the early 2000s. So like when I was a very little kid. But there's an old comment that I had found at one point that somebody had left under an article, and that person had said that Volume 1 is like the best friend Eau Claire's ever had. And I think like that's so like all encompassing to me, and like that's kind of the heart of what that is. I think that the difference between Volume 1 and what people might associate with traditional media is, number one, that it's independently owned. So our like colleagues and friends at the news stations and the LT, the Lear Telegram, and other like print news, they're somewhat beholden to that parent company or that, the affiliate that they're with and things like that. And you want to trust the people that are in your community. And so I think that's why people get such deep relationships, even if they don't know like the anchors, right? But like you feel a really deep relationship because it's like they're in my home. I've seen them on my TV screen for X amount of time. With Volume 1, it's owned by someone who is from this area. So like I feel like inherently the care starts from literally the foundation up. Like the care for the community is literally built into what we do. And I feel like Volume 1 is like a mirror in some ways back to the community, both reporting on things that are happening in news and for orgs and businesses, and then also food and also leisure and outdoors and rec. And we try to touch as many things as we can in a real way, in a more human focused way. We don't do maybe news that people think of right away, news being like crime or accidents or things like that. We choose not to do those things. We have colleagues that are very on top of that, are very on top of breaking news, are going on scene. You have multimedia journalists who are literally a one-stop shop, like a one-man band with their cameras and their audio and their laptops, and they're setting it up themselves, and they're going out there and they're editing it, and then they're turning it around and giving it back to people. They're doing that so well. We don't need to do that. That's not the gap that we were trying to fill ever, and it's still not the same gap that we're trying to fill today. What we're trying to do is facilitate connection, is to build community, to show people, the places and the people that are also in their community, and like ways to be proud of the place that they're in. And like, how do you build that? I guess telling its stories and telling like the human centric stories of that. We're not really known for doom and gloom, and that's something that I hear a lot from people who read Volume 1, is it's like, man, it's nice to read some good news, or man, it's nice to read something that is just a feel good thing, or that makes me laugh, or that I'm just like learning something. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just learning something new about this place that I've lived in forever. And speaking as somebody who grew up here, like, I can't believe how much I don't know or didn't know about this place until I started working at Volume 1 and got involved like with the chamber and like started becoming friends with the people that I've met through article writing. Like, that's the difference, and that's the storytelling part of that. And that's kind of how I think we've become like a trusted news source, is people do know us, or you do know the writers, or you do know Nick. Like, you literally know the people, and you build a relationship with people, and they know then that it's not coming from a place, unintentionally. Like, it's all real people behind the scenes.
So then obviously this is where local connection matters in branding, right? So do you feel like your Volume 1 has gotten stronger by the connection that has been built, like throughout your readers and those that engage with your events? So like, for example, me personally, I feel like I get to fall more in love with this city through what it is you guys provide. And so that it's through that local connection. Like, I'm connecting with you guys as well to then expand my connection with this community. Do you feel like there are others who feel the same or have heard?
I think that the local connection, like you're explaining, community member reads Volume 1, they feel more connected to the community. They feel more connected to the businesses that are being written about, or they feel more connected to the people that we're highlighting. I think that does also come through with some of our like advertising clients and the people who are also supporting that magazine. You go to the magazine to see what's going on in Eau Claire because you believe that this is one of the better ways to get that information. Those businesses obviously feel the same way by utilizing that service in some way. So they see this as an investment in the community. I think that connection that the reader has to the magazine, I think that our business clients and the folks who are advertising in the magazine also feel that same connection, and so it does kind of come full circle connected in that way. And I think that showing that support and that collaboration with those businesses and the people in the community, I think that if you open up a Volume 1 magazine, you don't see a ton of advertising for like corporate entities. You don't see like Miller Lite ads. You don't see anything like that. You see a bunch of local businesses who are trying to make this community a better place and trying to get their services out to the local people, to the audience in this area. And I think that you can cut through the noise with that. Like we said earlier, like everyone's on the internet, there's always a constant drip of information, but I think that you can cut through that by partnering with a local business that is solely focused on other local businesses and local happenings in the community. And having that connection and that partnership from a business standpoint will lead to more trust and building that authenticity. within the brand. Ding. Got it. So
I love when we get the new issues of Volume 1. So like today, we got them all delivered up at the Cliff and at the office, because they release every other Thursday, and then we get them all delivered in print to the office. And I love distro day. I love when we get all the magazines and they come, and they're so vibrant.
Oh,
It is like, dare I say, like dumb how vibrant the Volume 1s are. It's
ridiculous.
Like preposterous. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. This free magazine, by the way, that is distributed throughout the area. It's from Menominee to Eau Claire to Chippewa Falls, and then
400 plus locations.
400 plus
Ooh.
locations. 12,000 copies every 2 weeks, which means we do about 300,000 print copies every year. That's like not including all the other things that we do. Like, and I'm talking about publications. So like the Eat Scene Guide that we do every year. That's like a specialty publication. We do a city guide for the university when they have freshmen come in. We do it's
Yes.
like a little booklet, kind of like their crash course into a couple of things about the area. Not even counting that, we're doing print magazines that people are increasingly picking up, and we know that because we track it. So our distro manager, Matt, who is awesome, he and we have 2 or 3 drivers in the other communities around us that are hand delivering all these things to different people. A lot of grocery stores, coffee shops, dentist offices, the campus, all different things like that. And then when they go back every 2 weeks to switch them out, right, with the new one, they take back whatever's left, and he tracks what we're getting back.
Nice.
2025 was the lowest return rate we've ever had since we started tracking. Why? I would like to think, right, certain things, and it's because the content is great and that people care about what's going on in their area, especially accessibility wise. Girl, it's free. And there's a reason it's been free from the beginning, and there's a reason that we haven't stopped making it free. It's like, that's maybe not what other people would think is the smart business decision to do, is to make a print product that is free for your consumers to have, and to have a website that doesn't require a sign-in or a membership to go to. Like, what are you guys doing? And it's because it's for people to feel connected with their community, and you can't plug into that if you can't get it, if you don't have the money for it, or you don't have the time and the space for that. But when I'm stopping by a coffee shop, maybe I'll flip through the newest Volume 1, and I'm seeing cool things that are going on in the community, and you're seeing how vibrant and full it is with content, and also local businesses.
that one.
It is, when people advertise with us, it's because they're telling us that they think that the service and the community good that we're providing is worth it and is also powerful. That's what they're saying when they advertise with us, is that thank you for what you guys do, and we find value in it. We want to support you, and can you support us by having it in your product in Volume 1 on the website? When we partner with clients, like different businesses or organizations, and they do a partner content piece, those are labeled like a little handshake emoji. It means that we collaborated together on a vision, on a piece, whatever we decided that we wanted to highlight with them. For example, if a business wanted to highlight a particular product, or they wanted to actually highlight, you know, I have this service, or I run this winery, but I don't think that people know that it's like me and my husband running this winery, and I would like people to know that. And so maybe they want to partner with us to tell that story. Like, that's a reinvestment into what we do and into the community. So it's like, I could get on my soapbox all day long about how important it is to have that loop and that like trust with clients and with the community. It's everything. Like, that's the only reason that this even works. That's what, going back to, like, it's almost dumb that it works. Like, why hasn't the bubble popped? It's not because things aren't hard, or we haven't had to pivot over almost 25 years. It has been hard. It is hard still right now. And so you rely on and you lean on the community, and you continue providing a good and a service that is worth it. And then I think people see that, and it's that loop that goes around and around and around. And how can we help you and you help us, and we all do better? That's what that is, I think.
No notes. But it circles back to started this conversation too, of like when you provide a product or a service that you truly, truly believe in, right? Like it just amplifies the experience and overall creates trust within a brand.
Yeah. And then, of course, on top of it, of course, clients want to see the analytics and the ROI. And, of course, we do that, too. And then that's getting into all the business side of it, right, which is kind of Jake's wheelhouse. We have all of that as well. But then it's conversations like this. It's like, I can feel it, and I can communicate it, and email's not going to do that.
Correct.
But if you want the numbers, of course, we have the numbers. And people can see that, too, like on our socials and whatnot. Like, it's resonating with people what we do. And so if you want the deeper end, we can give you that, but hopefully you just feel it too.
I mean, I feel it sitting here, cupping a squat.
Period.
Okay, so we are wrapping up here. Any final key takeaways you want our listeners to have, or final advice, or any additional input?
I guess I would say I'm always drowning in my email, but I also love to like chat with people and meet people, and that's what I get to do for a living. So I love doing it, even though I think right now I have 250 emails in my inbox. However, if you ever need anything, always reach out like to Volume 1. You know, if you have an event, that's what the event calendar is for. It's free to submit to too. You have a story idea, we may or may not have the bandwidth to do it, but you can always reach out. You can always call with a question. I've answered people's questions. Sometimes they call and they're like, what's going on with parking? And I'm like, well, here's what I know from last night's meeting, and here's where you can go to find, out
we
more
get those
about
too.
that. So that's kind of what I would say.
Yeah, I think that if you have questions, comments, concerns, anything, just feel free to reach out. Or if you want to know more about ways that you could connect better locally, or that you could work more within the Volume 1 ecosystem, or just in general, like get your brand out to the community and help build that trust. And again, authenticity.
Yeah. It's a phone call away.
Yeah.
There's a storefront. You can pop by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. Thank you both so much for your time today. And obviously, to all of our listeners, you can follow up with McKenna and Jake, like they said, afterwards. But this episode is brought to you by our media sponsor, Home Tech by Mosaic. And just a couple little announcements before we wrap up here is that one of our signature events, Bravo to Business, where we highlight businesses within our area through 5 different awards, those nominations are now being accepted. Those close on June 7th, so get those in. And we hope to see you for the event in November. And then, if you want to keep yapping about anything going on in the area, we have a business after hours taking place on Monday, June 8th from 4:30 to 6 p.m. at Cowboy Jack's. And details for all of these events can be found by visiting our website at eauclairchamber.org. All right, you guys. Well, thank you again, and thank you to our listeners, and we'll catch you all in the next one.
Thanks so much.
Thank
Bye.
you.